Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2022 Netflix original film, Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. This is a hour, 41 minutes long, including credits. Luke Evans is Scrooge, who's incredible. Olivia Colman is Past, who's incredible. This is one of the best versions of A Christmas Carol I've ever seen. I've seen a few different versions. I saw a stage production when I was a kid. I remember distinctly because I was like, man, that kid must be so lucky to get out of school to act and have a grand old time on the stage. The kid who was playing Tiny Tim. I distinctly remember that too. It was funny, and that was a great production. Muppet Christmas Carol is just an iconic Christmas film, an iconic musical that it is. It's top tier as far as I'm concerned in regards to Christmas films. I've seen Scrooge, the Bill Murray film. I saw, was there a Kevin Hart one that recently came out? Or there was one supposed to come out that was a remake of that Bill Murray one. There's the Jim Carrey version where he's a CGI character that's on Disney. I have to see that. That's actually on my list. We're gonna watch that next because I want to do back-to-back Christmas Carol to Christmas Carol. But I haven't seen this one. I knew it was a musical. I wanted to watch it. I didn't know Luke Evans was playing Scrooge. That threw me off because he has an incredible singing voice and he's an amazing actor. I absolutely love him. Him as Owen Shaw in Fast and Furious is just an iconic character. This blew me away. This version blew me away. This is a remake of the 1970 musical version, and this has some more songs in it, and it's also computer generated, so it's more CGI. But this has added stuff to it, which I didn't know I wanted, because you've seen Christmas Carol once, you've seen it 1,000 times. It's the same story. It's the same exact story, right? Ebenezer Scrooge says bah humbug, and Bob Cratchit works for him, and the ghosts of past, present, and future show him what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen. And it's the same story, right? But there's different versions. Muppet is just iconic, right? But this is up there within regards to iconic. I'll put this as a 2. Muppet is 1. Scrooge or Christmas Carol is 2, if we're ranking the different versions of Christmas Carol. But this really blew me away because it brought in other things. Scrooge has a dog in this named Prudence. I don't remember any other version where he has a dog. I haven't seen the hundreds of thousands of versions of A Christmas Carol that exist. I would love to see an in-space version. That would be really cool as a futuristic retrofuturism. That's the term. That's the musical genre I've been obsessed with recently. Retrofuturism. It's wonderful. It's very synth, but it's very retro, but it's also future. So it's so cool. Retrofuturism. Look it up. So I would love a retrofuturism version of A Christmas Carol. That would be cool. But yeah, so Scrooge has a dog named Prudence in this. We get more backstory in regards to why he despises his nephew, Harry, and how Harry's mother was Scrooge's sister, and she died in childbirth. And it was this whole thing. And we're like, oh my goodness, did not expect this. We, as in me, myself, and I, we were like, could not believe this depth, that this emotion was being brought to this. Did not expect it. We get more of how Scrooge spent his boyhood in a bottle factory rather than a boarding school, because his dad was sent to debtor's prison, debtor's jail, or something like that. And that, from my understanding, is how Charles Dickinson grew up because of that. Not so much that it was in the actual story of Christmas Carol, but more so based on Charles's actual life, Charles Dickinson being the author of Christmas Carol. And it's just neat having that little throw-in. I thought that was cool. I also like that the Cratchits have a lot more kids than just the couple. The whole Tim, Tiny Tim dying throughout, and then Scrooge crying at the gravesite, at the end. His gravesite and Tim's gravesite, very interesting. What else? Just Olivia Colman as Past was just so well done. The love interest of Scrooge, that had a great song in it as well, just like in Muppet Christmas Carol. I really liked this version. And then at the end, instead of taking the Christmas festivities to the Cratchit house, Scrooge himself throws a Christmas party, and everybody comes, and he gives money to the charity. He gives this Santa toy that his sister had to his nephew as a Christmas gift, that because Harry has a picture of his mom and Scrooge as kids with that toy. And he didn't know that that toy existed anymore. And Scrooge had it all this time, but he just despised his nephew because how dare his nephew kill his sister. Basically, that's how Scrooge saw it. It was just, it brought so many different levels of character development that I didn't know I wanted and or needed 3 decades later worth of watching Christmas Carol. It's so cool. It's really cool being surprised when I didn't know I needed to be surprised in a story that I've grown in love with for 3 decades. It's really neat. It was very well done. The songs were just absolutely incredible. The songs are just these big Broadway numbers. And Scrooge had a quote at the end where he was like being pulled into the grave by Marley's chains to future present, that ghost. I'm sorry, ghost of future. What did he say? He said, "I've learned from the past. I'll live in the present, and I'll try to something." It's an S word. I'll try for something for the future. I don't remember what the quote was, but I looked to it and I tilted my head and I was like, I've learned from the past. I'll learn from the past. I'll live in the present. And then what was the future? I got to look it up again because that quote was just so iconic. I'll strive for a better future for all of us. That was the S word. I'll strive for a better future for all. I will learn from the past. I'll live in the present. I'll strive for a better future for all. I was like, this could have been a song on itself. It was just such an iconic chunk of quote. I was very impressed with it. That brought that whole "we not me" mantra that I've been praising for quite some time now. I'll learn from the past. I'll live in the present. I'll strive for a better future for all. That's all we can ever hope for. And I talk about that constantly. The past brings you to the present. What happens in the present dictates what can happen in the future. I'll learn from the past. I'll live in the present. I'll strive for a better future for all. That's all we can hope for. This was so wonderful. I will definitely watch this again before actual Christmas time. Like before actual Christmas Day. I'm going to tell my parents about this too because they'll really like this too. Very impressed. And it was creepy. Creepy. Very horror elements to it. Loved it. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.